We're going to bring in our experts, retired NYPD detective and CEO of the Brosnan Investigative Group, Pat Brosnan. Joining us as well is former FBI agent with the Joint Terrorism Task Force, former special agent in charge at the Justice Department, and author of A Cop's Son, One G-Man's Fight Against Jihad, Global Fraud, and the Cartels, Ken Strange. Welcome, gentlemen. Great to have you here. Pat, I want to start with you. I want to get your take on what you heard so far from that update that we are hearing in Toronto. It is an active investigation. I know multiple shots were fired. Right now, though, they have not said if it was terrorism or not, as we are on high alert about potential sleeper cells around the world. Pat, you're on mute right now. I don't know if you can unmute yourself. Okay, Pat, we're having some issues. Ken, let me get your take on what we're seeing transpire in Toronto right now.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, Tracy, because this seems to be the third type of terrorist incident in the last week. So you had the one in Austin, you had the one in New York City recently, and now this shooting at one of our consulates over in Canada. So it's not lost on me that this could be part of what is happening. With the heightened, we're in a stage of heightened alert with the global tensions with Iran. So no surprises here.
Yeah, and Pat, I think we have your audio now.
Yes.
Going back to you, we heard that they are going to increase security, not just at the American consulate, but also the Israeli consulate, yet they said no immediate threat to public safety. What's your take on that?
Well, I'm not a big believer, Tracy, and good afternoon, in coincidences, as you well know from prior discussions. Let's face it. 2 bombs were hurled at Gracie Mansion. We had a bomb go off in Oslo, Norway Sunday, shootings outside 2 Toronto synagogues. I do believe there is a threat to public safety. The fact is, they are all over this. There is no coincidence here. The pattern is symbolic targets, low-cost tactics, lightning-fast execution. And let's face it, we're in a climate inflamed by heightened global tension. This is everything, everywhere, all the time threat environment, period.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ken, what about us here in the United States? What should we be on the lookout for right now as folks travel? We just had a segment on spring break travel right now. What are your concerns there?
Well, look, I think the bottom line is that the public has got to stay vigilant. They have to report any suspicious activity. Be aware of what is going on in your surroundings. But also I was thinking that, for example, in Los Angeles, where we could have possible sleeper cells, people hiding, in plain sight in Los Angeles, and I'm thinking of our Iranian brothers and sisters. This might be a time to be very wary out there and to be very conscious of people that are new to the area and that may be asking a lot of questions. So people should collectively, be in a state of heightened alert.
Yeah, absolutely. Pat, let me go back to you on this. Any other concerns that you have about these potential sleeper cells here in the United States and around the world, as far as maybe cyber threats as well that people need to look out for?
Absolutely. I have deep concerns, particularly today with the global tension. The fact is, we are squarely in their sights. I do believe that they're going operational. And the reality is, if you just take a look, for example, at this very low cost, very primitive 2 bombs they put together with very common agents. And it breaks my heart to say it, Tracy. The reality is stopping and preventing and disrupting these attacks is virtually impossible. They're moving fast. They're operationally silent. That's a huge factor. And they're bloodthirsty. They move quick and vicious. This is terrifying stuff, and it looks like, to me, it's only getting worse by the day. So we need situational awareness, to your question, to Ken, and he nailed it. We need to enlist the 330 million sets of eyes and ears across this great country to be on the lookout. Grow eyes in the back and in the sides of your head.
Yeah, you need to do that. See something, say something. We remember that from 9/11. Ken, of course, all this is taking place right now as DHS has been defunded. We're in this shutdown right now. How concerned are you about that?
Yeah, I'm very concerned. But Tracy, I'm just going to go back to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. I actually worked with them, so I'm very confident that they will do an excellent job working with their partners, with the diplomatic security at the State Department and with the FBI. But it's kind of ironic because in 1994, and I'm going back in history now, it was the RCMP that informed me that I was on an Iranian-sponsored Hezbollah target list myself with another FBI agent and a CIA officer. So, the fox is already in the hen house here, and I really think that, and I hope, and I'm sure that our security, the FBI, is in that state of heightened alert, and they're going to be hitting on all cylinders here to prevent the threats.
Yeah, and of course we know we had open border policy under Biden. So many people just poured over the border, but it's not just that seems to be a concern. There are many people that seems to have been radicalized here in the United States, Pat. And is that something we should worry about as these people being part of a potential terror threat? We saw those students, those young people in New York City that were ISIS inspired recently over the weekend.
Terrifying, Tracy, and I've been terrified by it for a while. If you go back to Thomas Matthew Crooks and a host of others, the reality is I believe that there's the equivalent of professional headhunters trolling the deep web and other locations while these disenfranchised American youths are buried in mommy's basement in front of a screen, and they're being indoctrinated, they're being intoxicated, they're being incentivized by these headhunters who are selling them a story of glory and selling them a story of violence, and they're biting into it. And this is what we see time and time and time again. Again, situational awareness, aberrant and suspicious behavior must be reported every time. Never be concerned, this is to all Americans, that some law enforcement official will look at you and say you're wasting their time by giving them information that's not validating. Never happen. We need the intelligence, and we need it all the time.
We certainly do. With 20 seconds left, Ken, I want to give you the final word, final thoughts on what we're seeing transpire. Listen, I think Ken nailed it. The fox is dead in the hen house. It's in there. There's a bunch of foxes in the hen house. Yeah, for sure. Ken?
No, absolutely. And again, if you look at the history, Hezbollah, for example, their sleeper cells, they've been in here since 1994, and they've been arrested in, I believe it's North Carolina, New Jersey, and in Michigan. So they're here, and they could be your next door neighbor.
Yeah. It's scary, scary stuff, gentlemen. Thank you for weighing in. We really appreciate it.